What's up, y'all? Welcome to Street Apologist Live. I'm your host, Vocab Malone, and today is Wednesday, December 28th. Pretty late here, almost 11 p.m., even Mountain Time. And doing something a little bit different here. I think you'll enjoy it. Gonna try to do a shorter live stream. And I'm going to be interacting with news. This is the program where we serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. We'll be doing that today. Going to talk about this politician in New York who claims to be Jewish. That's really what he said. And how that relates to something that we cover often here, Hebrew Israelism. So let's get right into it. I'm going to play this video. I may play this twice. Maybe I should read the story first. Then I'll play the video. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's go to the first article. And no, that's not what we're trying to show. But we'll get there. Hold on. Okay. Yep, there we go. Okay, the next gen George Santos. When I said I was Jewish, I meant Jewish. And everyone on all the news outlets, they're doing that famous pose now. This is an interesting story with multiple layers, as you will shortly see. Let me make sure that everyone's coming here. Yeah. Shout out to the live chat. I see a couple of y'all coming in. I know it's late, all that. So let's take a look at some of this here. All right, you guys are going to find this interesting, and I think you'll see why it's relevant. Okay. All right. December 27, 2022. This is brand new. Just happened. U.S. Representative-elect George Santos, Republican, New York. Hate to bang on a New Yorker. Hate to bang on a Republican in this way. But he leaves us no choice, right? So here we go. Who recently described himself as the third Jewish Republican in the House, admitted Monday that he had faked his Jewish identity in addition to other claims about himself. Sounds a little bit like a Hebrew Israelite, right? As Breitbart News noted last week, Santos' resume came under scrutiny by the New York Times after the 2022 race when the second-time candidate defeated... Everyone can hear me? Give me a 1 if you can hear me, by the way. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. When he defeated Democrat Robert Zimmerman in the newly drawn 3rd District. The Times claimed that Santos had falsely claimed to have graduated from college and to have worked on Wall Street. Santos responded by claiming that the Times investigation was a smear to help the Democratic Party. However, other journalists began digging into his background. The Forward, a left-wing Jewish news website, I know someone who used to write for The Forward, and they actually did some decent articles on Hebrew Israelism, and they have a left slant, but they do some good stuff, you know. Reports Santos may have faked his Jewish background, including a story about his family fleeing the Nazis. I mean, this is quite the resume, right? That he's making up here, right? You see this? I mean, look at this. My goodness. On Monday, Santos admitted to the New York Post that the Times had been substantially correct in its investigation. He also said he was not actually Jewish, though he said he meant that he was Jewish. You can't make this stuff up, man. If you deal with Hebrew Israelites at all, or if you deal with Christian identity, people who hold the Khazarian theories and all that kind of stuff, the British Israelites, you know that they love to say Jewish means kind of like a Jew, but not really. And here, this guy is actually using it in a context that actually would make sense for this one time. Santos, elected to Congress on November 8th to represent the Long Island and Queens-based 3rd District, was also accused of lying about his family history, saying on his campaign website that his mother was Jewish and his grandparents had escaped the Nazis during World War II. By the way, the Holocaust really did happen to the people out there who were wondering. So this did really happen to people, just not to this guy's family, apparently. Santos now said that he's clearly Catholic, but claimed his grandmother told stories about being Jewish and later converting to Catholicism. Well, there are Jewish Catholics, and there are also Roman Catholics who did not know that they were had Jewish ancestry, but that doesn't seem to be the case with this guy. Or, it's always a tricky category there. It's like, who is Jewish, right? What does that mean? Is it practitioner of Judaism? Is it ethnic religious? What exactly is it? All right. But this guy seems to fail on all counts. I never claimed to be Jewish, Santos said. I am Catholic. Now, see, he's focusing on the religion element here. Because I learned my maternal family had a Jewish background, I said I was Jewish. It's got the dash in there. Just how Hebrew Israelites slur people with this, right? Last month, Santos was celebrated at the Republican Jewish Coalition annual leadership meeting in Las Vegas, Nevada, as he claimed to be one of 3 Jewish Republicans in the incoming GOP congressional majority. Okay. Fascinating story, right? It's a fascinating story, isn't it? I'm gonna play a video, but I want to wait till a few more people come in here first. Actually, let me show a few more people come in here. Now I know it's late. It's just I don't know if I want to play the video again and again and again. So I'm just trying to see how many we got in here before I jump on that. Yeah, let me read one more article. Let me go to the Breitbart. Because it's more original reporting than the first one I utilized. Going to be doing a little repeating here. So, to recap, you have this politician in New York who ran as a Republican, wins Long Island, Queens, 3rd District. And when people start digging into his background, he claims to be Jewish. Now he's saying he means Jewish. Which I'm reiterating, this is the same way that, for example, people who question the people who are traditionally known to be Jewish, the way that they question their identity as being authentic, right? They'll say, we're the true Jews, they're Jewish. Kanye said this. I don't know if you guys know, but recently, when I say recently, I mean within the past month or whatever, Ye was interviewed by WAC 100, and Tazariak was on the call. And in that, Ye said, I come to realize, we're the real Jews, and they're the Jewish. And Tazariak of ISUPK goes, that's what I'm talking about. And Tazariak got excited about that. As Ye could tell, and I never thought I'd be even reporting on a conversation where Kanye West was talking to Captain Tazariak of the ISUPK, right? But they were. And he says that, and he's like, oh, you like that? Now, what we need to understand here about George Santos is that he came out as part of his bio that he was this, but he knew that he really wasn't. It was all fraudulent. And actual Jewish people investigated this, like the Forward, and actual conservatives like Breitbart, and said, hey, this dude lied about a bunch of stuff. This dude lied about more than one thing. Now, this guy has an interesting bio as it stands. Look at this. Let's take a look here. I love how everyone's using the air quotes there. Because it's like, Jewish. I don't know what he was actually saying there. December 26, 2020, Joe Pollack. U.S. Representative-elect George Santos, who recently described himself, so a little bit of repack, but faked his Jewish identity. There's other claims about himself. I mean, it's kind of funny, right? This is very interesting. So, he came under scrutiny by the New York Times. He had defeated a Democrat in this new district, right? And the Times said, man, you lied about working on Wall Street, too. And he says, oh, it's a smear. At times it's a smear. Now, I will admit, sometimes papers like the New York Times seem to get a little more investigative when it comes to people that do not align with their political values. But it's not that they never do anything on the other side. It just seems like it leans one way, to say the least. But, that's why you got to be, squeaky clean, because if they're right, they're right. And so here they're right, And he's admitting that they're right. So the Forward gets into this, and, there's links on here. So on the Breitbart one, there's links to all this stuff, right? And this is the key thing right here. I said I was Jewish. I should have just started with this, the right part. I don't know why I brought up that other one. It's simply derivative. Okay, so I want to read an op-ed piece here. This is from MSNBC. Again, this is not the normal kind of thing I do. However, I will tell you, I'm trying to do something a little bit different in the new year, where I do shorter lives, and I directly tie it into something I focus on within urban apologetics, and within Hebrew Israelism, this. So, to remind everybody so they understand, the Hebrew Israelites refer to anyone who's traditionally understood to be of the Jewish community as being Jewish, and they mean it by sort of, kind of like, but they're saying they're ethnic and religious imposters. Now, everyone should realize how stupid of an argument that is, because British and Danish and Scottish, and we could go down a whole list, right? It doesn't mean kind of like. That suffix doesn't mean that in that instance in regards to nationalities, does it? Maybe they're just trying to be clever, kind of like some of the 5% style arguments where there's no way they could think what they're saying really means that, but they're trying to almost do clever wordplay. I remember within the conscious community, you would hear people say, don't watch the television where they tell lies to your vision. Don't go to the library where they bury the lies. You know, that kind of thing, right? So this Jewish argument is dumb, but I never thought I would see an actual mainstream politician use it in a real way. How interesting is this? Now, I know what's going to happen. People with a reading comprehension problem or overzealous cognitive bias and confirmation bias are going to see this and say, oh, look, one of these fake Jews is admitting that they're a fake Jew. That's what they're going to misunderstand the story as. This story is about, it's kind of a newcomer in politics who lied about a bunch of stuff. He didn't work on Wall Street, apparently. The Holocaust story doesn't seem to have any evidence to it. And, of course, the fact that his background is Jewish. Now, if someone's going to be like, oh, look, he's admitting it. Well, who uncovered it? The Forward was one of the main people. The Forward is a magazine primarily, at least the journalists that I know, that I've either talked to personally, because I've been quoted in the Forward a few times, or talked to or met or whatever, because I met a few of the journalists as well. They are of Ashkenazi descent at the Forward. I'm sure there's Sephardic Jews as well, and some other stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's even some Gentiles that work there. I don't know. But the ones I know would be understood to be Ashkenazi, okay? Turn up my volume a little bit here. So my point by saying that is, who's doing the investigating? And these same people would claim the New York Times and all the other news outlets are ran by the so-called fake right? We got someone in the live chat talking about Amalekites, right? You come in here using my initials like that. I don't like that. What are you trying to do? Let's block Detective Foley. At least time him out. Why are you trying to do that kind of thing? You know? You're not really a detective and just whatever. Okay, so keep on going down. Let's look at this. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. And then I'm going to play a video. I'm not going to really go too long here. We'll see how this kind of thing goes over. I know it's a little bit late, but really people watch it on the replay. Shout out to the live chat again. Much love to y'all. Incoming Republican Congressman of New York, George Santos, has falsely claimed to be Jewish and a descendant of Holocaust survivors to boot. After a New York Times investigation exposed his penchant for self-invention, Santos' spokesperson initially denied the defamatory allegations. Soon thereafter, Santos low-key admitted to the New York Post that much of his biography is indeed fabricated. It was all kind of a misunderstanding, he insinuated. What he really meant to say during his successful and duplicitous campaign for Congress was that he was Jewish, not Jewish. Now, I still wonder, where did he hear this from? Or is this something that everybody knows, you know? Judging by Santos' actions, being Jewish means pretending to be a Jew while running for elected office. It's kind kind of funny. It's tongue-in-cheek there, right? It means advocating hard-right Republican views. So, of course, MSNBC is super left. This is an opinion piece I'm reading, so this is what they're going to say. It means advocating hard-right Republican views on Israel and Iran. Okay. And by the way, to the people that say, Zionists run the media, then why do you have, the MSNBC in the discussion of this going after somebody who has conservative views or whatever they would call, support for Israel? It means lighting Hanukkah candles with the Republican Jewish coalition and tweeting about it. Typical stuff that Jewish adjacent folks have been doing since the destruction of the Second Temple. I mean, politicians do this. Remember Elizabeth Warren? She was Native American, and then she wasn't. Aside from the staggering hypocrisy of it all, this disturbing episode exposes some of the really unhealthy ways in which we give religion a pass in public life. Now, the MSNBC perspective on this is skewed. Those are two different words, aren't they? I don't know. I think they are. Because he's clearly making really along the lines of an ethic claim, because he says, well, my maternal grandmother. But they're turning it into religion, you see? I mean, it also reveals a great deal about the worldview of right-wing Jews who are a minority in the Jewish America community, but not an inconsequential one, including in Santos district. They may not have been fond of Santos' Christian Latino surname, because you guys understand Santos, but he won their acceptance by ticking off a checklist of extreme right-wing positions. These days with the left, if you're just a classic conservative, they call you extreme right-wing, straight-up fear-mongering. Is what they do. So just classic conservatives these days are extreme right-wing, right? Obviously, I'm not defending Santos' actions. This show is calling attention to his bad behavior. But it doesn't mean that MSNBC has clean hands, and I understand it's an opinion piece. Anyways, he was something akin to a Jewish Frankenstein candidate, in Jewish lore known as a golem, stitched together from flinty chunks of conservative policy, MAGA talking points, and misinformation algorithmically beloved to the roughly 30% or so of Jewish Americans who vote Republican. Oh, journalists and stuff. Let's start with the facts, or in this case, the alternate facts that have been shown to be falsehoods by intrepid reporters at the Forward, among others. No, George Santos' grandparents didn't flee Nazi persecution. No, he doesn't appear to have ever visited Israel. No, he doesn't have Jewish ancestry. No, he didn't attend CUNY Baruch College. It's crazy that he claimed this, because these are things that are pretty easy to check out, which he or his handlers must have imagined was Jewish-sounding enough, though it's interesting he didn't identify an actual chartered Jewish institution of higher learning, such as Yeshiva University, as his alma mater. By the way, interesting what's going on there with Yeshiva and some of the stuff recently in regards to religious freedom. You should look that up. No, he didn't work at Goldman Sachs or Citigroup, where many non-Jews work, but which Santos perhaps microaggressively thought sounded very Jewish. Is anyone else having fun with this? His thought is microaggression. Do you understand? Because he's associating apparently folks with finances, and so the writer's putting that in there. Where many non-Jews, for which Santos perhaps microaggressively thought sounded Jewish. Those microaggressive thoughts. Now, I understand there's a reality of some of this and stereotypes of some of this, but also the left is hilarious. The left is just as funny as, it's just all funny to me. It's sad. But anyways, much has been made about the political incompetence of Democrats in not doing their Oppo research on Santos. Oppo research. Run the ops. Shouldn't they have better vetted their opponent in a redrawn Queens and Long Island district with a sizable Jewish population? Perhaps. But I'd like to stress that these Democrats weren't just up against their own toothlessness. So this is someone on the left who thinks the Democrats are not doing a good job. Those kind of hard left folks usually. In this country, any substantive discussion about politician or judge's sincerely held religious beliefs is a no-fly zone. Now, that's simply not true. That is not true. They will inspect the background of churches. If a politician makes an appearance there, this has happened. For example, remember with John McCain and John Hagee, they'll look into everything the church stands for. They'll do this if someone says they're a member at one church. I remember even with the Hillsong. And now not with politicians, but more with celebrities. And they'll look and say, oh, well, Hillsong is homophobic. Remember, they will pull that. This is just simply not true. You know, the left will act like they want to be able to attack religion more than they can, but they're acting like they can't attack it enough right now, but they certainly will do it. Now, it's funny. It's definitely unevenly applied. The Muslims on the left, is anyone checking in to the masjid that they attend and finding out what the imams and sheikhs teach there? No, not so much if they do. Let's recall the Republican outrage machine. Oh my goodness, politics. That surfaced in 2020 during the Supreme Court confirmation hearings when some Democrats dared to wonder if Judge Amy Coney Barrett should be questioned about the relation between her personal faith conviction and her jurisprudence. That was pretty wild, actually, what they did there. Had to do with a Catholic Pentecostal group, I think associated with Notre Dame, People of Praise, I think it was called. And in the United States, there's not supposed to be a litmus test for religion. That's not supposed to be one of the things. But the Democrats want to make it one of the things, you know? So I'm getting off a little bit here, but I wanted to bring this to your attention because of the whole Jewish thing, okay? Herein lies a contradiction that is corroding American democracy and a supposedly secular country, as if we're not secular. It's in air quotes, as if it's a term of art here. We are enjoined to disregard a person's religious creed when considering their suitability for public office. This is a sound civic principle. Oh, well, thank you very much. It's also constitutional. Its roots stretch back to the days in which a presidential candidate like JFK was attacked for alleged loyalties to the Catholic Church. By the way, that could be a legitimate thing because a Catholic's supposed to have unwavering loyalty to a pope, and that is actually a foreign country, Vatican City. So people had some concerns. Now, there may have been an overblown anti-Catholic sentiment, but we got to understand. Now, it doesn't stretch back there. It stretches back farther, but whatever. Such accusations were often made of Catholic candidates for office prior to the 1960s. In a famous 1960s speech, Kennedy denounced that sort of thinking. Yeah, he had to say, hey, my first loyalty is to America, not to the Pope. That's what he had to do. He had to denounce the logical implications of what it would mean to be a faithful Roman Catholic, really. And in America, where the separation of church and state is absolute, he declared we should never judge a candidate by their faith. But a principle intended to protect people from religious discrimination has morphed into a shield against fair questions. So this person is using Santos, making up an ethnic identity about being Jewish, into a chance to talk about how we need to be able to attack people's religious beliefs when it comes to public office. This kind of thing is already going down in Australia. There's been highly qualified politicians who have some association with what's viewed as a conservative church, and they either have to resign or they just can't stand even to try to run. Same thing in Canada. This is where the left wants to take it. A lot of people aren't aware of how difficult it is to have any sort of legitimate religious affiliation, especially if it's Christian, in some of these post-Christian countries. Within so-called Western civilization. Some politicians and judges, not just Republicans, will insist on trumpeting their religious identities on the campaign trail when they eventually serve. Oh, yeah, some politicians, not just Republicans. God, you said that. Did anyone catch what happened down there in Georgia? Yeah, I think Warnock trumpeted that. So I think Stacey did too. I mean, they weren't making an appearance if it didn't have God and some kind of church tapestry going on with it, right? I don't know if you guys saw that. And when they eventually serve, but when some journalists or academic express curiosity about how their specific faith-based dogmas might influence their specific policy decisions, the question is dismissed as inappropriate. American secularism is ignored. Oh, no. Yeah, this is not even true anyway, but American secularists ignore it. It's the rule of the day, man, only to then be strategically invoked and thus weaponized against itself. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm getting a taste of the left here. This is a different kind of show. The Santos debacle demands a rethinking of how we treat religious claims made by political figures. Perhaps we ought to operate under the following rule of civic engagement. Whatever they're going to offer is probably not going to be any good, right? If a candidate invokes their faith on the stump or in public appearances and writings, then hell yeah. We have every right to query them about how that will impact their public service. By the way, they would never stop here with the left. They would not care if you put it out there on the stump or not. They're going to dig hard and try to find out any association they can make you guilty of what they're going to use. It doesn't matter if you put it on the stump or not. This is appearance of fair-minded, which the left is really not interested in. We can ask them hard but fair questions about their theological views and religious identity. This is what the left wants, and they're using the Santos case to try to get it. With this kind of practice of open interrogation, it sounds like a secular, this is my comment here, sounds like a secular modern version of an inquisition. Yes, I'm overstating the case a little bit. Santos' lies might have been sniffed out earlier on. So talk about an overreaction here. Or he might have been less likely to deceptively use religion as a political asset in the first place. I wonder if this person was so concerned with Warnock and Abrams down there in Georgia. I doubt it. George Santos performed a very particular type of Jewish identity to win support from right-wing Jews with his Christian surname and his loud and proud gay identity. And yes, I was waiting for that to come up in one of the stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I was waiting until they mentioned it. It's in one of the other stories. George Santos is not only a New York Republican who claimed to be Jewish and now is saying that he's a Catholic who is Jewish, he's also a gay man. This is a bizarre story. Only in 2022 in American politics would we read about a story about a gay Republican who's a Catholic who claims to be Jewish and won because of it, and now the left is mad. Let me make this bigger because that's gonna mess it up. But are we seeing this? Are we seeing this? Let me read it again here. With his Christian surname, so Santos. That's what they're talking about there. George Santos, right? Saint. And his loud and proud gay identity, Santos lacks some of the classic markers of traditional Jewish identity. You think? So instead, he focused on a political script as a workaround. MSNBC, my goodness. He worried aloud about anti-Semitism in this country, as we all do. And we should pause. Yet he wasn't worried about the MAGA white supremacist Christian nationalist kind of Judophobia. Just the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement kind associated with the left. He engaged in that unconditional... By the way, I just did a video about anti-Semitism among Christians, which I'm not conflating with the categories that this author just listed, but that's something that I'm concerned about too, on my side of things. He engaged in that unconditional embrace of right-wing Israeli governments, which has become a staple of the modern GOP. He craftily championed former President Donald Trump, praising the disgraced president for being at his full awesomeness on January 6th. Outrage at left-wing anti-Semitism, chest-thumping support for ultra-conservative Israeli policies, and selective and slippery support for Donald Trump. This is like the holy trinity of today's Jewish republicanism. This is MSNBC. Now, I understand it's an opinion piece, but my goodness, most of these positions are anathema to most American Jews. Well, 30% vote Republican, according to this article. I'm just saying, Santos may have gravitated toward these opinions in order to gain a credibility with right-wing Jews that he otherwise lacked. With his lies revealed, the Republican Jewish coalition has renounced its support for him. As they well should. I mean, the dude lied on his bio. I mean, to an unacceptable level here. There's a reason Kennedy and the mid-century Democrats wanted to keep politics and religion apart. As the Santos saga reveals, the meddling of faith and political ideology does great damage to the integrity of the former. Yeah, because this person's really concerned. You can tell the author is very concerned about the integrity of Christian faith and the integrity of Jewish faith. You can tell that Jacques Berliner Bleu is really concerned about it. There's George Santos, ladies and gentlemen, a gay Catholic Republican man who claimed to be Jewish and wasn't. So with that, let's watch this video. This is eye-opening. Watch this. So, again, you know I don't normally cover this kind of thing. Now, number two, I am going to be doing some things different, at least in the beginning of the year, kind of see about some directions to go, where I look for specific apologetic things in current events or news, whether it's low level or high level, and interact with them in a theological and apologetic way. And shorter live streams, I am going to try to do some of that, okay? So that's what's going on tonight. And the reason why this caught my attention specifically, and I'm reiterating, is because Hebrew Israelites slur all traditionally Jewish people as all being Jewish. Now, it's a dumb argument because the suffix does not mean that, and we need to constantly call them on that. What's their answer for people who are British, Scottish, Irish, Danish, right? What's their answer for that, first of all? And second of all, I want people to understand properly what this article was saying, because I can see what's going to happen. Hebrew Israelites are going to say, look, the awakening is happening. Some of these fake Jews are even admitting it. Now, to the censors and everyone else, I don't agree with the Hebrew Israelite claims. I hope you understand that. But I'm telling you the way they would spin it, okay? So let's see here. This is by CBN, by the way, Christian Broadcasting. I like CBN. I like CBN stuff.
As a proud American.
You don't work.
So, look, man, hold up. Look, hold up. Where did it go? First of all, when you hear him talk, you kind of understand that elements of his bio are definitely true, if you know what I mean. But check this out. You can criticize socialism and Marxism without inventing a story about your grandparents surviving the Holocaust. He said he learned his maternal grandma was Jewish at some point. That doesn't mean he knows his grandparents survived the Holocaust, and he only said his grandma. If it's not his grandpa, then, you know, he's fibbing, all right? And by the way, you can criticize these ideologies without making up the fact that you were Jewish or have people who were in your past survive the Holocaust, right? You know?
They don't work.
Santos told the Post he's clearly Catholic and claims he only said he was Jew-ish. Santos...
It's just too funny. He's Jewish. It's like dashed out in CBN's news reporting with a big dash. I never thought I would see. Did you ever think you would see this? If you've been paying attention to urban apologetics and you pay attention at all to the claims of Hebrew Israelites where they go around saying, we're the real Jews, they're the Jewish. And you know when they say it, they like to say it a certain way, Jewish. They take that little pause, that little rhythmic pause when they say it. And a Hebrew Israelite knows when another Hebrew Israelite's doing it. It's like they think they're so clever, but you know if you know. Did you ever think you would see this in this case? Like, he's using it as his excuse. Like, he's saying, no, you misunderstood. I was saying I was Jewish. It's like these TikTok videos where these kids go around in a store and they'll say something offensive, and then the person will be like, what? And they'll be like, oh, no, I was just asking. And they'll take their mask off and say something. It's like him. No, I wasn't saying I was Jewish, guys. I was saying I was Jewish. You got to see. Yeah, Warrior Woman. He needs to stop that ish. Good comment. Oh, and Prime Minister sounds like an episode from Curb Your Enthusiasm. What an excellent plot line it would make, right? This would, you're totally right. That would be great. Oh, I just got to go back on this. Yeah, so you might get in a little more trouble, you know, because there might be something else going on there. You know what I mean? Yeah, no. We're going to find out. Let me see here. should I read you any more? Yeah, this one's short. I'm gonna read you one more article and then actually be done within the next 8 minutes. Shout out to the live chat. We got some great people in here. Shout out to D-New, Nate, everybody up in here. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more. If you guys have the stomach for it, we'll find out if you guys are down. This is JTA. Jewish Telegraphic Agency. By the way, yes, I was recently quoted there. I mean, I'm going to tell you. And by the way, there's more coming out where I'm, talking to little, smaller, media outlets and stuff. I'll tell you guys more about it as the time comes. If you're a Patreon supporter in the squad, you probably already know. But if not, I'll keep you updated. George Santos maintains Jewish heritage claim even as he admits to lying about resume by Jacob Henry, December 27, 2022. This, again, it's such political theater. Everyone's using the air quotes now. That's great. So I didn't, know, I guess I could have guessed that there's such thing called the Republican Jewish Coalition. I'm glad there is, frankly. But he was there speaking back in November, but I don't think he's going to be speaking there anymore. George Santos, the congressman-elect whose resume and personal story have collapsed under scrutiny this month, said Monday that he still identifies as Jewish, despite reports showing that his grandparents were Catholics born in Brazil, not Jews who fled the Nazis in Europe as he previously claimed. Ooh, boy, buddy. The Long Island Republican. Hey, if his parents are born in Brazil, he's actually on the 12 tribes chart. What is he, Asher? Asher or Zebulon? Hold on. One of the Hebrew Israelites help me out here. I need to find out what he is. Hold on. Hold on. I need to find out here. Let's see what he is. According to the 12 tribes chart, George Santos is actually... Hold on, let me see. To Uruguay. Where's Uruguay at? It's in between here. Brazil is huge. Come on, I know. How does it go? Now I'm totally getting distracted here. Colombia, obviously. Where's Guatemala? Where's Guatemala start? Oh, I'm almost positive. According to the 12 tribes chart, I think that he would be Asher. Yes. Okay. So according to the 12 tribes chart, everyone, he would be from the tribe of Asher. So here's what I want to say. Earlier, there was a Hebrew Israelite who's saying, at least some of them are admitting it now. But the dude didn't understand that his parents are from Brazil. So according to you One West Hebrew Israelites, he actually is Jewish without the dash. A real Hebrew Israelite. Because guess what? On the One West 12 tribes chart, from Colombia to Uruguay is all Asher. That's all Asher. So George Santos is really a Jew, according to One West Hebrew Israelism. Ladies and gentlemen, matter of fact, what is he? He is from the tribe of Asher. Give it up for the brothers from Asher out there. I know we got some Asherites watching. Do you see how bizarre what a world we live in? So the Hebrews don't understand the dude's actually Asher, so he actually would be Jewish without the ish. Only on this show will you see the intersection of One West Israelism and JTA articles in such a way, my friends. The Long Island Republican also questioned why people are rushing to disinherit me from being Jewish. Well, I can think of a few reasons. Given his support for Jews in Israel at a time of rising anti-Semitism. Just be a Gentile supporter, bro. The comments came during Santos' first media appearances since the New York Times published a story last week raising questions about virtually every aspect of the Republicans' resume. Even though I've always said, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I've always loved and had a deep respect for my Jewish heritage, and I will continue to. Santos told a reporter from City and State, publication covering New York politics. In similar comments to the New York Post, he said, I never claimed to be Jewish. I am Catholic. Because I learned my maternal family had a Jewish background, I said I was Jewish. Did he write it that way in his bio and stuff? Did he tell did he tell the we need to start a new thing here that he was speaking at in Vegas, the Republican Jewish Coalition. It needs to be the RJ-C or something like that. The Republican Jewish Coalition. He could be in that one. Did he tell them? Okay. In fact, Santos had told Jewish Insider that his mother's Jewish beliefs were his own. Well, now we're conflating here, but okay. See, Jewish beliefs with ethnicity. He had also accepted invitations from the Republican Jewish Coalition, honoring him as one of the 2 incoming Jewish Republican representatives in Congress. Someone find out for me who the other one is, by the way. At a 2021 Jewish News Syndicate interview, Santos repeated the same Jewish line and talked about how his grandfather fled the Holocaust, which the Forward first reported last week was not supported by genealogical records in 2 countries. To City and State, Santos said he had been repeating long-standing family lore. This guy would make a good one-wester. I've made that joke because growing up, I grew up fully aware that my grandparents are Jewish, come from a Jewish family, and they were refugees to Brazil. That was always a story I grew up with, and I've always known it very well. And I've told it the way it was told to me. Santos told the news organizations that he was surprised that Jews were distancing themselves from him and mounting evidence that his profile as a Jewish Republican was fueled by inaccurate information. Well, bro, you lied. It just strikes me as so odd that people are rushing to disinherit me from being Jewish or even allowing me to care for Israel and Judaism. He's a victim now. In a time and era when anti-Semitism is an all-time rise, Santos said, and here's somebody who actually cares about Jews, cares about Israel, and somebody willing to fight for them. We have people pushing me away. Just drop the act. In his media appearances, Santos admitted fabricating his resume, including his education and work history. Imagine any job where you could get away with doing this, and he apologized for doing so. He also said he would not be deterred from representing New York's 3rd Congressional District, which includes parts of Long Island and Queens and includes a sizable Orthodox Jewish population. I am not a criminal, Santos told the New York Post. This will not deter me from having good legislative success. I will be effective. I will be good. This guy's believing his own legends here. To City and State, he suggested he might still have some Jewish support. Maybe. He said that he got a text from someone. He did not say who. You know what? It's probably Richard Katz. I got a text from a guy named Richard Katz the other day who told him, I don't care what you say, you're still a MOT. Using the acronym meaning member of the tribe. That is shorthand for Jewish. He added, it feels good. So here you got Richard Katz texting George Santos, from a Android in Atlanta, Georgia, telling him you're still an MOT, bro. Okay, there's another one I was gonna read, but we don't have time. We got to get out of here. But this is pretty good too. From the Hill. But I said about 45 minutes, and I'm feeling like that's time. So, guys, I'm going to come back later. Drop me some super chats. This is super thanks. Please subscribe. Hit that like button, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to try to do more shows like this. We'll see. Shout out to everyone in the live chat. Much love to y'all, and peace out. God bless. Shalom.